Welcome to An Introduction to the ACT and Testing Strategies, brought to you by College Possible with content contribution from the Princeton Review. Let's get started. What is the ACT? What does it stand for? What do you think the A, the C, and the T stand for? Here's the joke. The ACT doesn't stand for anything. It's now just the ACT. How important is the ACT? Well, it depends on where you want to go. As you can see at small liberal arts colleges, the ACT is less important than, say, personal factors when it comes to admission decisions. Versus at large state universities, the ACT is significantly important when it comes to admissions decisions. What is a good score on the ACT? Well, it's the score that will get you into your college of choice. So that's why it's important to start researching schools now to set those ACT goals. What is on the ACT? Well, the ACT is made up of 5 tests: English, math, reading, science, and writing. Now let's talk about how the ACT is scored. It depends on the section. Let's go through the number of sections, the time allotted, and the score range for each subject. English, there's 75 questions. You have 45 minutes, and the score range is 1 through 36, 1 being the lowest, 36 being the highest. Math, 60 questions, 60 minutes, 1 through 36. Reading, 40 questions. You have 35 minutes, and the score range is 1 through 36. Science, 40 questions, 35 minutes, 1 through 36. Those are the 4 multiple choice sections. Answering all the questions randomly in these sections would result in around a score of around 10. And lastly, the writing section, which is 1 question, an essay question that asks you to consider multiple perspectives. You get 40 minutes to respond, and the score range is 1 to 12, 1 being the lowest, 12 being the highest. Optional means it's optional for colleges. If the school you want to attend requires students to take the writing test, you will take it. College Possible highly recommends that all students take the writing test. How is the composite score calculated? We'll get into that. First, do you think you need to be a rock star on all 4 tests to get a good ACT score? Truth be told, no, you don't. Your ACT composite score is the average of the scores for the 4 multiple choice test sections. Here's a little quiz for you. If you only had 1 hour to study in the final week before the ACT, would you spend it on your strongest subject or your weakest? If you guessed the strongest, you're correct. An hour can sharpen already strong skills effectively, but is less likely to make a difference in a subject a student is really struggling with. Now let's move into some basic ACT strategy. Though the 4 multiple choice tests differ in content, you will employ a few common strategies throughout the test. The first one is POOD. What do you think POOD means? POOD stands for Personal Order of Difficulty. This means always do the questions that look easiest for you first. Now let's talk about pacing. Question difficulty. Questions are rated easy, medium, or difficult. Each correct answer is worth 1 raw point. Each wrong answer is worth 0 raw points. This means there's no penalties for wrong answers. Here's a question for you on pacing. Which yields more points? Doing 60 questions and getting 20 right, or doing 30 and getting them all right? If you picked doing 30 and getting them all right, that's the correct answer. Remember, you only get points for correct answers. So in the first scenario, you only get 20 points. versus the second, you get 30. Slow down to score more. Our next strategy is now, later, never. Now, work any questions that look quick, easy, and obvious first. Later, go back and work the questions that will help you hit your goal. And your never, if you don't have the time to tackle the hardest questions, fill in your LOTD, which we'll cover next. Now let's cover LOTD and POE. LOTD stands for letter of the day. That means you pick a guessing letter before the test. Pick the same letter, answer choice every time. This is beneficial rather than randomly guessing because it saves you time and you can count on the law of averages to give you around one question correct out of every 4 guesses. And POE stands for process of elimination. Here's an example of why process of elimination is so powerful. What is the capital of Cyprus? It's a bit of a challenging question off the top of your head, right? Now, let's try this. Multiple choice. The answer is on the page. Let's go through it. Which one of these can we rule out right away? I'm thinking London and Tokyo too. That leaves us with New Cyprusburg and Nicosia. What do you think? I agree, New Cyprusburg sounds kind of obvious. Let's go with Nicosia. Which question was easier? And why? You're right, the multiple choice. Because even if you don't know what the capital is, knowing what it's not is just as helpful. Now let's talk about setting goals. All students want to increase their scores. Those who succeed do so by setting realistic goals and pursuing these goals systematically. If you are serious about increasing your scores significantly, then you must do the following. Come to all of the sessions. Complete all of the practice problems assigned as asynchronous work. Review your homework and learn from your mistakes. See page 10 in your manual for more information. And finally, practice and make use of the techniques you learn. Use them on homework, on practice tests, and on the real ACT. Make sure if you do miss classes or homework assignments, you make them up. Complete lessons and drills in your TPR dashboard. Practice, practice, practice. Your homework equals practice. Taking the ACT is a skill like any other. To improve, you must actively practice. Success equals successive approximations. The steps to improvement on the ACT are: break the goal into bite-sized pieces. Focus on one step at a time. Recognize and reward your success. Another question for you here. Is it better to study 10 minutes every day or 2 hours once a week? If you guess 10 minutes a day, that's correct. Remember, break that goal into bite-sized pieces and take it one step at a time. We hope you found this introduction to the ACT and testing strategies helpful. Remember, you can always return to this video. Best luck in your prepping and practicing.